gosh. Oops. Uh-oh.
Hi. Welcome to ASM Digital Marketing. We are the Marketing Moms. I'm Ann Brennan, and this is
Anastassia Van Greshby.
And we're laughing because we thought we had just recorded an episode.
Yeah.
And apparently we had not. So we went through the
So
entire thing.
Literally the entire thing. So we're going to have to do this twice.
That's good. We'll be better the second time. So
we don't even have our intro thing.
We don't. We didn't do our intro.
We danced before. Even Ann danced today.
Exactly. So we are the Marketing Moms. That means we make marketing simple for you. It's like, think about your kids. How simply do you talk to your children? I need you. Actually, I had one child. We will not name this child, but he's my oldest. Then I would have to say, there's 5 things I need. There's 5 steps to this thing I need you to do. I'm going to give you one step. Go to the top of the stairs and I'll yell the next step.
Oh, I have a child like that, but it's my youngest.
Yeah. No, my oldest, he just couldn't remember. He'd get up there and be like, what was I doing again?
I know. Yeah. Terrible.
But
like, you went upstairs to brush your teeth. Oh, really?
Exactly. So we're just going to make this easy for you. We're going to make marketing easy.
Wow.
I gave a lunar report when we were not recording this. I'll give a little bit more. Sorry, I have a really scratchy voice. I'm actually going to give a good lunar report this time, which is to say I've been sick, as you can tell from my sexy, sexy voice. Remember Phoebe from Friends and her sexy voice?
Yeah.
I've been sick, and Luna, who is normally a terror, has been wonderful. She's been laying on her little bed right beside me and behaving, and that's wonderful. So that's my whole lunar report, is to say my naughty dog has been good for the past few days. So that's, it was nice to have a break from her, because I would have thrown her in her crate or in the backyard or something because I was so sick. I do want to remind you that this is live, so you can ask questions, leave them in the comments. We may answer them on the show, or we might use them for a future episode. So that's something that, think about. Maybe ask us a really good question, and we'll create a whole episode and give you credit for it. Today, we're going to talk about outsourcing, the 5 things you need to outsource, 5 tasks to outsource. And we're going to talk about it from our experience as small business owners and what we've done. And I'll kind of reveal some of the dumb things I've done in the past that outsourcing has helped me to avoid. So I want to start with accounting. I think one of the most important things, and one of the first things you should do, is to outsource your accounting. And the earlier you do it, the better, because I know people who I've said, you really need to outsource your bookkeeping. You really need to outsource your billing, because they'll say, oh, I'm not getting paid. I'm like, you need to outsource your billing because it just makes your life so much easier. And they'll say, well, but I have a system. And what they really mean is, I'm pretty screwed up on this end, and I don't want anybody to see behind the curtain. So if you hire early in this, you won't have as much stuff to hide behind the curtain, right? But we also talked about the fact that accounting doesn't just have to be outsourced. It could also be automated, at least some things.
Yes. So, when Anne used to invoice people when she got around to it.
Sometimes that would be 3 months later.
And then they would pay eventually. So we started doing automatic. So as people come in order to be a client, you have to be on automatic payments. There's we don't give that option. It is.
We're very strict about it. I had a client who called and he says, well, how much would I have to pay to be able to write you a check? And I said, if you doubled your payments, you could write me a check.
Yeah.
And that's how serious I was. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to double his payment. Yeah.
But we can take it out of their checking account.
Right.
If you don't want to use a debit card or a credit card, we can do an ACH payment.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, nowadays, there's no reason not to. We have, it's
easier for me, but it's also easier for them.
If you're not, if those people, they really need somebody to do their bookkeeping and accounting, because then they know when they can pay for things, right?
Right, exactly.
But by having it automated, we know when we're going to have money coming in. It's rare that a payment doesn't go through, but because everything's automated, we get a notification. This payment didn't go through. We can run it again. We can contact the client. Everything's much easier.
Exactly. And then having it, depending on your level, like you've mentioned this earlier, that we had a small bookkeeper who was helping us, and then we hired a bigger firm.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons we did it was we needed more advice. We needed can we afford a new office space? Can we afford to hire a new staff member? Should we, what things should we cut right now? Based on what you're seeing in our numbers. And so they're advisors as well. So it's a huge thing to be able to outsource your accounting. And I want to say right from the beginning, you may be excellent at accounting. You may be wonderful. You may have been an accounting major, but if your business isn't accounting now, if that's not what your business is, you need to outsource it, because your business is what you need to be focusing on.
Yes.
Not your accounting.
Yeah, definitely. I was in our previously non-recorded episode, I was talking about how my favorite thing that this current bookkeeper gave us was this app for our receipts. So I go and buy something on the card, or I even get an email, and immediately I can take a picture of the receipt in the app and categorize it to where it needs to go. Or I can send an email if it's an email receipt, I can forward it straight into into that app from an email, and it uploads everything, so it's just clean for everybody. It makes it much easier for us to see. We use QuickBooks, like where all the money's going, and I really need it for my personal life, honestly.
Oh yeah. So the next thing is IT, and I think most people think of IT as you hire somebody who you call like the Geek Squad, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're called out of
Yeah.
Best Buy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could hire somebody who can just fix your computer if something goes wrong. But a real IT company, somebody who's managing your account, is so much more than that.
Oh, well, yeah, because you're calling the Geek Squad when you have a problem and you are in the middle of downtime. Having an IT company that is proactive minimizes that downtime, or can eliminate the downtime.
Absolutely.
Because they can see things happening. For instance, we work with BL Technical. They were a client of ours and we're a client of theirs. Super happy. There was one of our laptops they got an error from, and he was like, I need to see this laptop. This is a catastrophic error. Something's going wrong. It's working right now, but if we don't address whatever is happening, it could just die.
Right.
So we were able to get our employee another laptop, take that laptop, and he was able to look at it, and also we use Macs, so he contacted Apple on our behalf. Like, there was no waiting for anything.
We lost no
downtime because we had an extra laptop. I gave it the other one, and everything's all set up. They are able to log into all of our computers remotely. They're able to do any updates. If we want a new software, or Tony didn't have Zoom on her computer, I was like, contact them, and they put Zoom. So we don't have to do anything. It definitely took a lot off my plate because I was the savvy one that would just problem solve until I figured it out. And you know what? Yeah, you can Google. Everybody can Google. But do you have the knowledge, of what's going on, right?
To know ahead of time, just not just what's going wrong, right? Yeah. But to know ahead of time. But the other part of it is that they take things off our plate that I didn't know IT companies did. Yes. I was really shocked to find out that when you get a new employee, they can help you onboard them. They set up the email. They set up a lot of accounts.
So they set up their email accounts. They set up their profiles on the laptops. I want the bookmarks to be certain bookmarks, the ones that I know we use all the time, the programs that we're going to all the time, our CRM, our projects, websites that we use to do creation work, all that. So they set all of that up on the new laptop. So the new employee, it's all done.
Right. And you don't have to do it.
And I don't have to do it. And I don't have to explain to them how to do it.
Right.
So everything's done, and it's great.
Well, and then on the other end of that is if you have an employee you have to let go, that you can call them and say, hey, on Friday, this is what's happening. I'm letting this employee go. And they can go in and make sure their accounts are, their passwords are changed and everything's happening, so that you don't have a disgruntled employee in your accounts afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have somebody there for that. I mean, you could do it in-house, but do you really want to?
It's
right?
unfortunate. I mean, anytime an employee is let go, regardless of whether or not, in our instance, we thought it was the best thing for both, and I really, truly hope that she's happier now. But it was something that it's not going to go well.
Right.
It's not going to go well because there are emotions, there are feelings involved. And regardless of whether you were, if you're ready to quit and you're like going to go in there and you're going to quit your job and then they fire you, you're going to be pissed.
Right. No matter what, you're going to be mad. There's never going to be a good time.
There's never going to be, you hope that it's like, you know what, you're right. I wasn't happy. I wasn't doing my best work and this is the right decision. It's not going to go that way. So having an IT company that you can be like, okay, this is what's happening. I say plan for the worst. Plan worst case scenario, like
Absolutely.
what, and minimize the damage that the person could do.
Exactly. Well, and some of the damage we wouldn't even think of, right? But an IT company that you've outsourced that has worked with businesses all over the state at least knows these are the things that could go wrong. So let us fix them before.
And why do they know? Because their phone rings for that reason.
When something has gone wrong.
People are often not reaching out to IT until after they've had a problem. So they're calling with a problem. They're not calling to be proactive. It's like, there's a reason that that health insurance covers preventative care 100%. Because when you're doing the preventative care, you're less likely to have the bigger bills later on. And that's the same with IT. You've got to think about that your IT health. Like when you are proactive and you're taking the steps that you need to take to keep your company safe, you're not going to have those big bills and big headaches. You're calling the Geek Squad if you aren't ready. But for us, we've never had to worry about it.
It's also far less expensive than you think.
Yes.
I'm far less expensive than you think. I was shocked by how, you pay per computer.
Yeah.
It's so much less expensive than you expect it to be.
Yeah.
So the next one is virtual assistants and admins. And I will tell you, I did not go that route. Instead, I hired a mom in our neighborhood, Anastassia, to help me with some things, 10 hours a week, which was not how that ended up.
For a week.
It lasted for a week, and then she became our COO because I realized what I had. But not everybody will get that lucky. But it makes a difference to have an assistant, and it can be somebody like Anastassia who works with you, or there are plenty of virtual assistants out there, and a lot of times they're moms who are staying at home, who want to help, but they don't want to. They want to have the freedom, right? So what are some of the tasks that?
Well, virtual assistants they can make appointments for you. They can go through your email and clean it out. We get a ton of emails.
I have 750 some emails in my inbox right now.
So Tony's going to be going through those. So we have a ton of emails that come in every day. Some things aren't that important for us. Some things are below our pay grade to respond to. It's like, this is a question I can answer. Your assistant can answer that,
Right.
Even your virtual assistant can answer that. And then there are things that definitely need, and by having somebody that can go through, they can sort through and say, hey, this needs attention now.
Right. Absolutely.
Like because we're working on all of the clients, and having somebody go through the email and say, hey, no, right now you need to answer this. Because, we probably get 10 emails an hour. So that is very important. Other things, like I said, making appointments. If you're trying to make an appointment with a potential client, it's just going to cost you money. If you, as the owner of the business or a higher up employee, is going back and forth with people. So that's something that an assistant can do easily. Or even little office, running to the post office or any kind of small tasks like that. Having somebody to do that just takes time. It takes time. If you're doing it yourself, it takes time out of your thing. So the next thing is payroll and HR. So I really recommend this. The laws are changing. Employment laws are constantly changing, and you need to stay on top of things in terms of taxes and benefits and all these things. So by outsourcing that and having a payroll company doing it for you, you just don't have to worry. All we do is log in, check the hours, make sure that it's all accurate, that somebody isn't working overnight, because that's not, sometimes you'll forget to log out.
Right.
We double check all that, and then we submit, what is it? Process payroll.
That's it.
So it makes it much, much easier. And by having people that you can call to ask questions, because we don't know the employment laws. There's no way.
And they change very fast.
Yeah. There are things that you need to know, and outsourcing your payroll is very important.
Yeah. And it's you have choices. We use ADP.
Mm-hmm.
You could use Paychecks. You could use, is it called, Gusto?
Oh, there is Gusto. Yeah. Bluestone. There's quite a few payroll services out there.
Yeah.
You really just have to find the one that works for you. I know, like ADP, it works for us. We don't have to call a lot. I mean, we are a small team. I will say that
I have a really good rep over there, by the way. So if you're watching this and you need one, message us. I'll send you his name.
Oh,
he's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
Has he been in it for a long time? Because I was just about to say that they have
quite
a turnover.
5 or 6 years with them. And yeah, they generally go like that.
I feel like we've had, in the 3.5 years that we've had the office, we've had like 4 or 5 at least.
Yes, exactly.
Every 6 months, I feel like.
And this guy I actually went in search of. So I found him. I'm
okay.
like, I want somebody who's like, the new ones call and they're like, hey, I want to sit down with you. I'm like, no, because you're going to be gone next week. I'm sorry, but no. So I found one who has been there for a long time.
Well, it's like the Paychecks guy that's in my BNI group. That's his, like, he really enjoys it. Like, he wants to stay in it. So some people are just using it as a stepping stone to get through. Other people are enjoying it and they want to stay in it.
Exactly.
So our last one is marketing.
Yes.
Why should people outsource their marketing?
So Anastassia says this all the time. It's about time, right? It's about, we have yes, we're doing the work for you, but also we have the knowledge. And because you are busy making cupcakes, if that's your job, or you're busy as a plumber or running your business, you don't have time to keep up with the changes in social media. We'll use that for an example. We do social media marketing. You don't have time to pay attention to that.
You don't. And this industry changes every day. I mean,
sometimes like 3 times a day.
Yeah. There have been times where I've been working on something in Facebook and I'll like go in and do something like 30 minutes later and something has changed. I mean, it's not always like that. It just, coincidence that I happen to be in there at the same time that they're changing things. But there are a lot of changes. I mean, as right now, there is still in the Facebook business pages are getting switched over to having a new profile. There are things that I'm seeing that are not working that used to work.
Right.
So, it just takes time, because every time they make a change, they go through all their servers before everybody gets the change. So us being in there all the time, we know what's going. We are constantly getting continued education in it by going to conferences and following different societies and so forth. So marketing, it's changing. Like, there's some basic things in marketing that are, have changed the same. My degree was pre-internet. I mean, the internet was out, but they weren't teaching how to use it.
Right.
Same with you, right? They weren't teaching us how to use it to market. So the basic marketing principles still apply, but how are those being implemented?
Right. Yeah. Well, the other thing, though, I will say, we talked about this when we weren't recording. People don't understand their brands. They think they do, but we ask a really simple question. I'll ask you today. What are 5 adjectives to describe your business? You'll have to stop and think about it. And the truth is, those adjectives will change over time. If you have a marketing agency that's dedicated to you and is paying attention to you as those changes happen, that marketing agency is paying attention to that, because that's their job. Our job is to pay attention to that. We just had it happen. And I can give you a really good example of this, because it's like the shoemaker, his children have no shoes, right? Mm-hmm. I was you assigned me, Anastassia makes the assignments here. She's like, why don't you do the posts for the upcoming, for ASMM? why don't you do the post for them this time? And I said, sure, I'll go in there and do it. And so as part of that, I went in and I did what we do for our clients. I looked at the branding sheet and I updated it. And I said, well, one of the things that we're really good at that describes us now is agility. We're agile. We are very, very quick to make changes and see if they work, right? We're very quick to do that. And that's a huge thing that I wasn't using 6 months ago or 2 years ago or whenever. We're using that now. And so we get to know your brand really, really well. And you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about how many cupcakes does Shipley's Choice Elementary School need for their upcoming event. You're making those, right?
Yeah.
Or how am I going to land that big account down at BWI Airport? That's what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about your brand.
And that's what you should be thinking about. You should be thinking about what's going to make you money. What's going to cost you money is by you doing these 5 things that we have said to outsource. By you doing those 5 things, it's costing you money. Outsourcing it, yeah, it's going to cost you money, but it's not going to cost you as much in lost productivity,
right?
In lost creativity, lost sleep, lost energy. I mean, there's so many things. You can't just think about the money value. Yeah, that's obviously you have to think about those things. But you also need to think about, okay, if I don't have to worry about my marketing because somebody is taking care of that, that's going to give me X number of hours that I can then put into building my business.
Let's think about it this way, actually. Let's go back. So right now we've got these. You want to add a 6th one. Go ahead and add the 6th one.
Oh, yes, cleaning your office.
Cleaning your office. It's a huge deal. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know it was a huge deal until I came in and Anastassia was cleaning our office. We just moved into our first office and I came in and Anastassia had been cleaning for most of the day. And I was like, oh my God, you're way too valuable to be doing that because I need you to be doing these other things. That's where your value lies.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, no, we have to hire a service. And that was a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
So let's add that in. If you think about accounting, how many hours a month would you have to spend on accounting to do a job well?
To do it well,
right?
I don't know. I mean, I would say at least a couple of hours a week.
Yeah,
depending on the size of your business.
Right.
For us, I think it would be a couple of hours a week.
Right. So between 8 and 10 hours a week, right? A month.
Yeah.
So then IT, same thing, right?
Well, yeah, probably, if you're updating everything.
If you're doing the thing, so maybe just an hour.
Maybe just an hour, but if you have a problem, that could cost you an entire day.
Right.
Of lost productivity. You're not able to do something else. But if it's say it's an employee's computer, you're pulled away from your job. Your employee can't do theirs because you're using their computer. So that's 2 people lost in a day.
Exactly. Admin, oh my gosh, countless, hours.
At least an hour a day.
At least an hour a day. Yeah. That's so now I've lost count, but that's 8 plus 4 is 12 plus 7 is 19 hours a month. Payroll is
that's more than that because it's like 30 something.
Oh yeah. I mean, so
we're like 40 hours for the month already.
Right.
And we haven't even hit payroll and marketing.
Exactly. And marketing, I will tell you, marketing, if you want to do it well, you're going to have to spend at least an hour a day on it for the entire month. And that's at the very minimum. That's if you're only doing the very minimum. If you're trying to do blogs and you're trying to make sure your website's up to date and you're trying to make sure your newsletters are done, it's going to be way more than that. Yeah. It really is. So think about how much time you're spending doing these things that you don't specialize in.
Yeah.
How much time are you spending doing things you don't specialize in? Don't do that.
One thing I would like to say with this is what you need to do if you're going to outsource is you need to find companies that are going to be your marketing department, your IT department. Not that you're like when people come to us, we don't say, oh, welcome to ASMM, welcome to our team. No, we are joining your team. Yes. We are an extension of your team. And I absolutely feel that way with all of the people that we outsource with. They're part of our team.
Right.
Like I know I can call BL Technical. They're part of our team. They are our marketing department.
Yeah, we didn't
Outsourced or
even
not,
think when we
they're
were
a
moving
marketing department.
offices. Actually, that was a good thing. When we were moving offices, was huge.
Yes.
We just called them and said we're moving offices, and they said these are the things we'll do to get you set up.
They came in, they looked at what setups we had, and they contacted whoever we needed to contact. They set up our phones. Everything. They came in and did everything for us.
Yeah.
And because they're our IT department.
Right.
So that's how you have to think. You need to find people that are going to be your people. People that you can trust, and people that you're just like, that you're gonna get taken care of. They're gonna look after you. And when you have that and you have that trust, it's easier to give them the money.
Right. Exactly. So
you'll see their value.
Yeah. So we'll go through it one more time just so you know. Accounting, IT, virtual assistant, payroll and HR, and marketing. It's really important. And I do want to say, when you look at those hours and you talk about the economy, we keep hearing this, the economy, and you think, I'm going to cut. Well, what happens when you cut those outsourced people out of your business? It means you're going to be doing the work, which means you're not going to have time to go out and do the work for your clients and bring in new clients. And that is those two things are the most important things you do, not to mention managing your employees, right?
Yeah.
You need to manage your employees, you need to bring in new business, and you need to do the actual work for your clients. So make sure that you're not cutting things thinking you're saving money and you're really costing yourself money because you're not bringing in new business. Or you're losing a whole business, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, we do want to remind you that we have a blog. One of the things that's over there right now that I really, really, really like is the user experience on your website and on your newsletters. We had a client who had a really hard time understanding how she was getting hundreds of people on her website every single day, and she was making no sales. And when we looked at the website, we said, what are you selling?
Yeah.
And that's a problem. If somebody comes to your website and they don't know what you're selling, they can't buy it.
Exactly. There's no conversion. If it's not clear, there's no conversion.
Right. Right. It'd be like a guitar store having the guitars there and talking about the guitars and how pretty they are with no button for buying it, right? So, so think about your user experience. How many times do people have to click before they can buy something? How far into your website do they have to go before they can do that? So go read that article.
Or just understand you, right? So if your website is to educate, or you're selling a service, or you're not actually selling a product that somebody can click buy now on, does your website explain exactly what you do?
Right.
Like if somebody goes to that first page, because that's where they're going to spend their time for the most part, you've got to grab them there so that they can go to the other pages and find out information. So what does that user experience look like? And the best way, read the blog. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, read the blog. It's really good. And the blog is wonderful for all kinds of things. Also, we have a newsletter. So if you go over there and it says, do you want to subscribe to the newsletter? Say, yes, please. Because I'm telling you, our newsletter is awesome. It really is. I'm very, very proud of our newsletter. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. Do you have anything to say before we go?
No.
So
I think this is a very important episode. I will say that it's very important. I think that you need to think about how you can enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
And I think that when you can outsource things that don't help you, you will enjoy your job more. You will enjoy being a business owner and running a company a lot more when you can be like, I'm not doing the IT.
Right.
I'm not doing the marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna take something off your shoulders, and going to work isn't gonna be this dreading.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.